Today's episode of Chat and Chew is sponsored by Big, the brand agency.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to our Chat and Chew broadcast today. Thank you for tuning in. We have a guest. But before I get into that, I really want to talk about last week's podcast. Two or three of my kids were actually talking about me in this podcast, and I want to thank them for a job well done. I was really honored. I got kind of emotional a couple of times watching them, what they had to say about me and life growing up in the household of Glenn Warren and what I taught them and the things that they said I was strict. I didn't think I was that strict, but they thought I was. Anyway, if you get an opportunity to go back and watch that again, I was very, very excited to hear that, and I expressed people interest to go back and listen to it again if you haven't listened to it. So today we have a guest, Derek Bird, which is the CEO, Executive Director of Family Resource Center. He's going to talk about the services they're providing in the community, as well as talking about the Fatherhood Conference, the 10th Fatherhood Conference they got coming up in a couple of days. I'm really excited about being a part of that conference. I've attended all 10 of them over the last 10 years. And so Derek Bird is going to come and share with us his expertise about fatherhood and about family. And so I know a lot of you are tuning in to during your lunch break. So let's chat and chew while you do.
Please make sure you follow us on Facebook, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and of course, hit the bell to activate notifications that will remind you when we're on. Please be sure to leave us a comment to let us know how we're doing. We'd love to hear from you.
Hello, everyone. This is Glenn Warren, founder and executive director of Fathers Forever. I want to share an alarming reality with you. 627,000 fathers are incarcerated that have kids under 18. Now, there are 56,000 moms incarcerated who have kids under 18. The reality is there are so many more fathers incarcerated than moms. This is why I Am a Father Forever book exists. Now, I need your help. I am inviting you to help us get this book into as many fathers incarcerated as possible. Here's how it works. For your donation of $22, we will provide a book to an incarcerated father. Thank you in advance for helping Fathers Forever heal fathers and save families. Welcome, everyone. This is Dr. Glenn Warren. We are in the studio today with our podcast. We have a very, very exciting program today. I have our special guest, Dr. Derek Bird. He's the executive director of Family Resource Center. He got an exciting event coming up in the next week, and we just wanted to bring him in the studio and talk about fatherhood and talk about what he's doing and how we're working together to help fathers be better dads. So I want to welcome Derek Bird, and thank you for being a part of our broadcast today. And just Derek, I always start out with this question when I interview anybody. That is, what is your why? Why do you do the things you do? What motivates you to get up and go to work and do the things that you do? You can choose any other work. What made you decide to get into fatherhood?
Well, interestingly enough, the work chose me because even though I have been involved in providing services to families throughout my career, both here in North Carolina and in New York. The work around fatherhood actually came when I was in Wake County Human Services, and we were looking to better engage fathers across the departments. We were mandated to better involve fathers in Child Protective Services, which is where I was working. And so the Human Services Director asked me if I would also extend that work and look at how we can better engage fathers across all of the departments of Human Services here in Wake County. And so you were very much a part of that work.
Yes.
And so, we were able to create a task force and to do some focus groups and surveys of both staff as well as fathers or men who were engaged in services across the departments in Human Services. And so we came up with a recommendation and a report of what it would look like for the organization to get itself ready and prepared to create father-friendly spaces, to better engage and involve fathers. And so as we began to start doing that work, there was things that were happening within the department. And so this work may have better legs if it was sustained in the community. So being that I am the co-founding member of our Family Resource Center and was on the board, I took the work to the executive director at that time, which was Kimberly Best, and said, we need to continue to do this work around fatherhood for all of Wake County. And so that's how the Father Conference was born. And we continued to do this work for the last 10 years.
So I read your resume. You got a very, exciting, very inclusive resume. Walk us through your resume, some things you've accomplished in your life. I know this was a question before.
I don't want this to be a long podcast. So for the last 20 years, for 21 years, I served I worked in Wake County Human Services and Child Welfare. During that time, I also was amongst the community who also helped to start and founded the Family Resource Center in 1995. I have served on a number of boards. I've been involved in a number of different initiatives throughout the county, particularly around racial equity. I've served in a number of leadership positions on the National PTA and Wake County PTA. I can probably go on and on and on. But all of those things, again, all align with the work that we do with fathers and families.
Yeah, okay. So tell us a little bit more. I know you mentioned, tell us a little bit more about Family Resource Center and what are some of the services that y'all provide into the community. We're going to get into the fatherhood cover, but I want to find out a little bit about Family Resource Center and some of the services you guys provide.
So the Family Resource Center, like I stated, was founded in 1995. It was an initiative that was being funded through the Department of Health and Human Services here in North Carolina, where they were looking to establish family resource centers at that time to support families who were going to be aging out of the wealth of the economic benefit system, or what they knew as work first. So to support families in being able to become employable and to get employed. So that was kind of the premise, as well as support families who were involved in child welfare. So that was kind of the premise of the Family Resource Center. And so as that work began to evolve, we were able to then look at how we could serve and provide services to other communities. And so we began looking and we did intensive family preservation, and then we've done teen pregnancy prevention. We also have done a number of other different programs. I won't try to name them all. What we do now is we try to look at how we are serving families throughout the continuum, from the smallest person all the way up to adults. So we have our HIPPY program, which is home instruction for parents of preschool youngsters, which is an in-home program where we go in and we work with parents who have 3 to 5 year olds, and we teach them the social and emotional and educational skills that they in turn teach their children in preparation for preschool and kindergarten. We also have our Parental Wisely program that works with parents whose juveniles ages 10 to 19 who are involved in the juvenile justice system, or may have some other issues where they may have been involved with Child Protective Services. So with that, again, another home visiting program where we go and work with the parents on how to better communicate and and structure their home to, to raise their children. We have our Day-to-Day Dads program, which we consider our flagship program, where we work with fathers who have children up to age 21. We also support them in making sure that they're economically stable to be able to support their families. So we help them with jobs and any other support services that they need. So we have a couple other programs that just are getting started. We have our New Start Opioid Prevention, Education, and Diversion program. So we're going to be working with individuals who are incarcerated because of their drug use or low-level drug activity in Henderson, North Carolina. But also we're starting a diversion program called LEAD, which is Law Enforcement Assistant Diversion. It is a national model which we're going to be piloting in Apex with Apex Police Department, in which when they encounter someone doing criminal activity, based on the level of the activity, they can, as opposed to charging them, they will divert them to our program.
Oh, wow.
And we will work with those individuals. We have Southlight as one of our partners who will also do the substance abuse assessment and treatment for that as well. We also have our Family First Community Recovery Program. So that program is going to be working with families who are still struggling and still being impacted by COVID, and that we will help them to assist them with getting employment or getting better employment. Also with life skills. We know there's a lot of issues going on right now with folks because of the isolation that they felt or encountered or experienced during COVID. So relationship needing to be repaired. We will also provide them, we will also support students because we recognize a lot of our students who were just not equipped or prepared to do home to do work from school, to do work from home, because they either didn't have laptops or the school system was able to get them laptops or had broadband issues or what have you. If there are any emergency issues, we can provide some limited need related support. We also have our reentry programs. So all of our reentry programs right now are out of Wake County, but we're working with individuals coming out of incarceration and returning back to either Johnston, Halifax, Vance, Franklin counties. And so we work with those individuals and help them with making sure that they get employment. I try to get them on a career track. In Halifax, one of our programs, we actually are working with participants to get trained in solar energy and Ocean 10 so they can be ready to go into the solar energy field. There's a lot of projects happening around Virginia border and other areas in the state with solar projects that our participants were able to participate in.
You got to do a array of services, man. That's a lot. I'm really particularly interested in what you're doing with the kids. Because, COVID was there. We all, as parents, we were doing all of the best we could do to survive work. And sometimes we put the kids, we didn't put them aside, but they was kind of left alone to grow up and do a lot of things on their own. And now I'm thanking God that we have services now that's going back to help them, because we moved on to some degree. Those kids need help.
Yes.
And I really, really appreciate the opportunity for you guys to go back to help these students now get prepared for this, because COVID was bad for a lot of us.
Oh, yeah.
And, but now we're seeing the results of a lot of the stuff that happened with the kids, because they were now put in charge as the older brother to make sure I'm doing my homework and make sure my younger brother is doing his homework and feeding him lunch, and so they're having to take on the parent role now while the mom and dad are working. Yeah. So I really appreciate the work that you guys are doing in that arena, because it's really needed in the community. So we let's shift a little bit to about I know one of your pride and joy is, as well as ours. We have worked together in many venues and many events and many opportunities to work with fathers. Yeah. That's part of been in my heart. I know that's been in your heart. Tell us about the purpose of the fatherhood program. Just tell us about the history of it, and then we can get into the details of what is it called, and just tell us a little about. It's going to be coming actually next Saturday, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So just tell us about this fatherhood program conference that we got coming on.
Yeah. So the North Carolina Fatherhood Conference, it will be Saturday, June 17th. We will be hosted at the Life Enrichment Center. So the whole purpose of the conference, as I stated before, we shifted the work from Wake County Human Services over to Family Resource Center. And so it really was kind of the brainchild of the executive director at that time, to say, well, we needed to really figure out how we could better raise the awareness.
Who was that? Who was that?
Oh, Kimberly Bass.
Okay, yes.
And so we were able to pull together a group of community involved folks, including the staff, including yourself, to kind of plan, because there had always been many attempts to have fatherhood conferences in the state, and we've participated in some, but we just never really had anything that was really as substantial as what we were looking to do. And so we were able to, really bring in very celebrated speakers and really engage a lot of different sponsors and other community groups to really host this conference. And so we started in 2013. Rod Woodson, who was a Hall of Famer, football Hall of Famer, was our keynote speaker at that time. And we had it at the Sheraton Hotel downtown. And we had 300 people show up. So we knew we were on to something.
Right.
And so every year we started getting more people. We had, great keynote speakers. And so we became the fourth largest fatherhood conference across the country.
Wow.
We were attracting at least up to 600 people each year. And this was pre-pandemic.
Yeah, right.
And so, again, our vision for the conference has been to really create a space where, fathers can come and be celebrated, where fathers can come and learn, how they could improve on their parenting, or how they could better support their children, how they could better support their community, just be appreciated. Also, just the networking. One of the things we learned in our day-to-day dads program, in our work, in our groups, is that fathers, when they are comfortable amongst each other and realize that there are shared lived experiences, that creates a whole another dynamic where folks become able and willing to then kind of let their hair down and really talk about the things that really that they're really struggling with. And so that's what we want this conference to kind of be. We see the networking, the peer-to-peer interaction, but it's just an opportunity to raise the awareness of the importance of fathers in families, in the community, and why it is important that fathers be engaged and involved in all levels of their children's lives. And also to raise the awareness of all of the institutional impacts that is that has on fatherhood. And so that's what our Power Breakfast does every year, where we are sitting with folks who are in decision-making positions, elected officials, and others, to really talk about how is the educational system, how is the criminal justice system, how is the law enforcement issue, how is the court system, how are all these systems playing a negative role in fathers' lives that are preventing them from being the best that they can be.
Right.
And so we do that, and we also have our Practitioner Summit, which kind of kicks things off that. So the Practitioner Summit is June 14th. The Power Breakfast is Thursday, June 15th. And so the Practitioner Summit is, again, geared to individuals who work in community organizations, who work in governmental organizations, who really have a desire to learn how to better work with fathers, how to better engage fathers, how to create father-friendly services. And so that's what that particular event is for. And so we try to make sure that we have covered all the bases as a result, as it relates to, fathers and everywhere that they are represented, whether it's in your agency, whether it's in any of these systems and institutions, and then just overall, just having the opportunity to come and just celebrate each other and celebrate fatherhood.
Right. What are some of the things that you want your participants to take away when they it starts at 8 o'clock, they leave at 2? What do you want them to take away from this conference?
I want them to take away the fact that they matter. Okay, that's the first thing, that they do matter. The second thing I want them to take away is that to really be able to just be themselves and to feel accomplished in what they have done and what they do know. I want them to take away with something that they didn't come in knowing. So as they go through workshops, learning and finding out about things for the first time, or just getting confirmation about things that they may have thought that they knew. And then I just want them to take away, just leave and go away just feeling that, I am good, I'm okay, and I can do this.
What are some of the workshops? And how did y'all decide what workshop you wanted to be in this conference?
Yeah, the workshops are quite a process. Because, one of the things that we learned over the years of doing this is that, we get feedback, we get evaluations. And so, the ones that we know really resonates with the fathers who participate, those are the ones that we continually try to bring back. And then we also try to look at how we could, also introduce other topics that either are some of the emerging issues that are happening in the community or just something else that we believe would be of interest to fathers. And so that process is just very time consuming, but we want to make sure that we're hitting everything. So, one of the workshops that we do out of our 24/7 DAS curriculum is what does it mean to be a man? That's always been one of the very popular workshops. So the Wake County Human Services always does a workshop on heart to heart or dad to dad, let's talk. So it's good to talk about all kinds of things around mental health, sexual health, things of that sort of, with their children. We also make sure that we have workshops around, how to be an entrepreneur, or how to, credit, finance, those things are important. Mental health, and just taking care of yourself and, and looking for signs of how you could be suffering and what those things you need to be looking for. We have a workshop for veterans. We have a workshop for fathers who are raising daughters and that relationship. Okay. We talk about fathers, faith in fathers. So we have someone, Pastor Paul Anderson, comes and talks about the relationship fathers have with the church and how churches, again, can support fathers and things like that. So we try to make sure we cover every base.
Yeah. So y'all talk about child support issues. Y'all have a workshop that address. Well, you and I both know that is a hot topic for a lot of men.
Yes.
Dealing with child support and we've been dealing with this for a long time, and that's really a hot topic because men kind of, even when they hear the word child support, a lot of them is
child support and visitation. Yeah, hot topics. I don't think we have one this year.
Okay, yeah. I remember when you and I have been a part of this work for a long time, and child welfare as far as the mom and dad co-parenting and working together. Because a lot of times I'm finding out that the parents want the system to fix a job that wasn't created to fix. The system, you and I, as a part of the system to some degree, can't fix the problem, the broken relationship that the ex-wife and the ex have. But they get mad with us because they want us to fix that. And the system is not designed to fix those problems. So what we have done is to talk a lot about the child support issues and child welfare as well as custody. That's another main issue. So tell us about the keynote speakers.
Okay. So this year we have Judge Vince Rozier, who is currently the judge in Wake Superior Court. He's also served in district court in a lot of the different courts where you would find fathers, whether it was child support or abuse and neglect or juvenile court, so he's very versed. And I think, one of the things that we try to look at when we're looking at keynote speakers is who has the story, because I think oftentimes, we are not willing to share our story. And, and then we go before folks like Judge Rozier. And, then we get upset about some of the things that he does or some of the decisions he makes that impacts us. But we don't know his story.
Right.
And so, we found what resonates with a lot of the guys that come to the conference is those personal experiences that the speakers share, so that there is some connection or they get to see, what their stories is. So, Judge Rozier is a great human being. He's a dad of 2 young children. And I've heard him speak a number of times, and I just think he has a story that folks need to hear.
He's been in, before he was appointed to the position that he's in now, he was in child support court for many years. And, you and I both worked in the child support court, and he would refer a lot of guys to our program. And if he was in traffic, we would get referrals.
Mm-hmm.
I would look up and there's a referral from traffic court, and I found the judge is Judge Rozier.
Mm-hmm.
So he believed in fatherhood so much and what to be doing, and I really and I've heard him speak several times. He's very compassionate, like you said, about what he does. He's very knowledgeable about what he does. Him and his wife both have their story. I've heard it several times, and I'm glad that you guys chose him, a local person that really have an impact in the community. I mean, you guys have picked some in the past, some very profound speakers, other states. But I'm glad that you guys chose this year to pick somebody local. That was very. So tell us about the other speaker.
Yeah, so that speaker is Leonardo Williams, and I have seen him just grow so much in the last 6-7 years that I've known him. This is again a young man who is he has education as his background. He was a teacher, as a principal. He currently sits as the city councilman in Durham, the city of Durham. He and his wife have opened a restaurant. And they've expanded that, and he's just done a lot of different things that also trails and blazes the trails for other young men who are looking to become very entrepreneurial, or involved in politics, or involved in other community activity. And he's a dad.
Yes.
So I think, again, that's another story. And just to have him talk about his experiences, with his living with his mother, in Rocky Mount, where he grew up, and all kinds of other things that he could share that I think would resonate with the participants.
Yeah, he worked with us. We have been started for a while, and we needed someone to look at our curriculum. And because he got an education background, he came in and helped us, put some stuff in place and make it. When we first started out, we had a 24-week program. It was real long. And he's like, "No, y'all need to chop that down." So we chopped it down to. But he's a very, very, again, profound speaker, very knowledgeable about fatherhood, and I just want to say to the audience: if you know of a father, if you know of family members, brothers, uncles, nephews, that really, I encourage you to come to this fatherhood conference on the 17th,
June 17th, Saturday, June 17th. And if you want to register, you go to ncfatherhood.com, and you will be able to register for all of the events I spoke about. The conference on Saturday, June 17th, the Power Breakfast, which is 8 to 9:30 on Thursday, June 15th at Methodist Home for Children, and also on Wednesday, June 14th, from 9:30 to 2 is the Practitioner Summit, also at Methodist Home for Children. You can register for all of those events at ncfatherhood.com.
Yes. And I will be at all of those events. I'll be on a panel for the
breakfast, yes.
And I'll be coordinating the Practitioner Summit.
Yes, you'll be leading
that out, yeah. And I definitely will be at the conference, because I'm very excited to hear what Judge Rozier had to say, and Mr. Noah. I'm very excited about that. So again, I want to encourage all of our brothers. A lot of times it's the women that really put the fire under their husbands, and
Yeah.
So I want to talk to the women as well.
That's what we need. We need all the wives and the mothers and the sisters and the aunts
to encourage
push your man to come to the conference.
Yeah, push them to get them out of the house and say, "Honey, this is a honey-do list. The honey-do list today is for you to go to this conference." And so again, we really wanted to bring this up. It's going to be next weekend, and I really want for Derek to tell about all the work that they're doing, and also to talk about the conference. So Derek, I want to thank you again for coming and sharing your wisdom, your knowledge, and your experience with working with Family Resource Center, and your general compassion. And thank you for doing the work that you're doing.
Thank you.
Here's 3 ways you can support our Dads at a Distance initiative. Give a copy to a family member, our friend. Donate monthly, a book monthly, 5 books monthly, how many books you want to do monthly donation. Reverse book signing, your church, your business. You can make a donation go to our website at www.ncfatherhood.com. at fathersforever.com and go to our PayPal at Fathers Forever. Our Cash App is $Fathers Forever. Make your donation today. Please include in the note section, include DAAD. Again, include in the note section DAAD. Thanks again for listening to another exciting podcast. I hope you really got a lot out of it. Derek Bird was our guest, as you know, and he brought a lot of energy, talked about Family Resource Center, as well as the 10th Fatherhood Conference coming up this Saturday. And so I'm thanking everybody for tuning in again. Until we meet again, I want to say goodbye.
If you or someone you know would like to be a part of the show, please visit our website at www.afatherforever.com or call us at 919-779-9905. The Chat and Chew podcast streams Thursdays at 12 p.m. on YouTube and Facebook. To schedule a reverse book signing or to find out more information about how you can become a part of the programs you heard us mention today, please be sure to stop by our website as well.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Fathers Forever University. My name is Glenn Warren, and I will be your instructor. Fathers Forever University is a remote learning experience where we take our 12-week class, and we meet here every Thursday night from 6 until 7, and we talk about fatherhood. We talk about domestic violence. We talk about where your child support money is going. We teach classes about fatherhood and how important it is to be in your child's life. So these 12 weeks is going to be very important for you guys to understand and the concept of fatherhood and what we're trying to teach you. Fathers Forever University is broken down into 12 weeks, and you can start at any time during those 12 weeks. The key to it is finishing those 12 weeks. Every lesson is in lecture format, where you listen to that lecture, and then on Thursday nights, we discuss that lecture. The Thursday night discussion is where your homework will be due. Part of your homework assignment every Thursday night is to, one, we'll ask you the question, what did you learn? And the second question, how am I going to apply what I learned? We also have specific assignments for each lesson in the notes below. This has been an introduction into Fathers Forever University. Now let's get started in lesson 1.